This video I'm going to show you how to draw this little robot here by using some shapes that you're going to draw in Illustrator. When I went to the Adobe help website, they had this tutorial here. So they taught you how to draw the rounded rectangle and the triangle, and then how to put it together with this shape. And then they said, okay, now draw the robot. And they really didn't explain as many things as you need to know to do it. So I'm just going to make my own video on how to do this robot. A couple things to start off with. Make sure that your workspace is set to essentials so that you have these windows open here. You may or may not have this top strip. You don't really need it, but I want to always show you how you can access it. It's called control. So notice how you can turn it on and off with control. Okay, so the tools that you're going to need are the selection tool, and then you are going to use this rectangle tool here. And notice how when you click on that rectangle, it opens up these other shapes tool. We're going to use the polygon tool and the rectangle tool and the ellipse tool to make this robot. A couple things that you need to know starting off. Let me just remind you, if you press Control minus, you can zoom out. If you press Control plus, you can zoom in. If you press Control 0, it just fits it to your window. So let's say you're like really zoomed out, and then you press Control 0, it'll just fit to the window. And then the other thing would be the space bar. If you hold the space bar, you can see you get a hand, and that way you can move in. So like if you're trying to work on a different part of the picture, you can just press the space bar to move your image around. Alright, so to start off, your swatches are probably going to be black and white. You notice how you can see them in different areas. You can adjust colors here, you can adjust them in swatches. They're also over here. To draw this robot, I think it's best if you have the fill set to none, and if you have the stroke set to any color really. I'll just go ahead and use black for now. So fill none, and then have some type of stroke so you can see the outline of what you're drawing. Alright, so let's start off with the rectangle tool. So if you start at the top here, you can just take the rectangle tool and go in the top left corner of that rectangle and just draw a rectangle that goes on top of it. I'm going to zoom in, Control plus, and then use the space bar to move it around. If you want to adjust the size so that it fits better on the template, just go up here to the selection tool, and if you click on that center dot there, you can pull it down so that it matches the template. It doesn't need to be exactly, but if you are way off, like, I mean, you could even draw something that far off, then get your selection tool, move it over here in the corner, then go by the corner and drag it into the right place too. So when you're first drawing it, don't worry if you're not exactly on the template, because like I said, you can move it. You can draw any shape, you know, over here off the area, and then just move it and then reshape it to fit over the template. So you don't need to worry about if you start off in the exact right place or not. So in the beginning, let's just start off by doing all the rectangles that are on here, and then we'll move into the more complicated shapes as we go. So anything that has a straight edge rectangle, we're going to do those first. Like I said, don't worry if it doesn't fit exactly on the dotted line. I'm sure it'll be good enough. Alright, so those have a little bit of a round edge to them, so let's just finish up the ones that don't have a rounded edge. Alright, so that's all the rectangles that you need to draw that don't have a rounded edge. Now I'm going to show you how to make them have a rounded edge. Now there is a rounded rectangle tool in here, but the way Adobe teaches you is how to do it with a regular rectangle tool, and I think it is a pretty cool feature, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Now it's hard to know where to start off when you don't have a corner, but you can just kind of guess where it is, and you can move it later if it's not in the exact right spot. So let's say I'm going to move this in a little bit so it fits the template better. That's good enough. Now notice how, I'm going to zoom in here, Control plus. Notice how there's this little dot right there in the corner. If you pull that in, Just click and drag and hold it in. You can round the edges of your rectangle. All right, so we're going to do that again. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Let's draw this big one here. I'm going to do it like, show you that it's okay if you don't have it in exactly the right spot and how you can just move it again. So let's say I didn't do a very good job of drawing that. No problem. I can just grab the corner and move it to be where I want. And then go up here in this little corner where that dot is and just click and pull back until the corners are rounded. All right, let's get the rectangle tool again. Get it pretty much the way I want, and then go in here and pull in the corner. Same thing for these. These aren't rounded quite as much. You can just pull them in a little bit. Fix that. Okay, since these shapes are all the same, I want to show you how you can just do Control-C, copy, Control-V, paste, and then get your selection tool. Make sure that when you're moving something that you don't grab it by the corner because you're going to size it. But if you just grab it by the center, you can move it to where you want it to go. Same thing again, Control-V. I'm going to grab it by the center, move it over here. All right, so let's zoom out, Control minus. So now all we have left to do are the circles and the triangles. Let's go do the circles next. So if you go over here where your rectangle tool is and hold down on that shape, you can pull this menu out and get the ellipse tool. I'm going to do Control plus and zoom in. So to do a perfect ellipse, you need to hold the Shift key. So go out here in the corner, click and drag a circle. If you don't get it to fit exactly the way you want, you can do the same thing you did before with the rectangles, is get the selection tool and you hold the Shift key while you're dragging in the corner, and then you can make your circle fit exactly on the dotted line. So we'll do the same thing here, get the ellipse tool. That one ended up being right on the money. I want to show you another way that you can draw a circle. Instead of always having to go from the corner and dragging, like the way I did that one previously was I held the corner, or I went to the corner first and did that. But you can also like go in the very center of a circle, and if you hold the Alt and Shift key, you can drag out from the center. So that's another way that you can draw a circle. You can do the same one here. Start in the center, hold Alt, Shift. So either way, I need to go back and correct this a little bit. I'm going to hold the Shift key and drag from the corner so that I have it positioned on the line better. All right, so once again, I'm going to try it from the center. I'm going to hold Alt Shift and go out. Notice how I didn't get it right on target, but it's okay. I can go back with the selection tool and hold the Shift key and drag. Same thing here. I'm going to get the selection tool and correct it. Make sure you hold the Shift key, otherwise you won't have a perfect circle. So either way you do it, you can do it from the corner like I just did here, or you can do it from the center. Also, you can use your arrow keys to nudge things. So like if you were way off and you just want to move it a little bit, I'm just using the arrow key here to move that up where I want it. Same here, you can use the arrow key, or you can go back to the selection tool and size it and move it that way too. I'm going to fix this one a little bit. Obviously, if you want to be really quick, you can just copy and paste this whole thing over here too. So that is another option, but I'm just going to go ahead and draw them, because if you just draw them instead of copying and paste them, it just gives you more practice so that you get better at it. Oops. See, now that time I let go of the shift key too soon, so I got an oval shape. So you can either fix it just by dragging it out on the side like that, or start over, either way. Click the selection tool and click off so I don't have anything selected. So the next thing we need to do now is to learn how to draw the little triangles. So the way they tell you how to do it on the Adobe website, I found it a little bit weird, but we'll go ahead and show you that way. So they take the polygon tool and they click and drag. Hold the shift key while you do this. Okay, if you don't, it'll tilt around like that. So hold the shift key and then go up over here on the side. See how it has a plus and minus? It lets you change how many sides your polygon has. Obviously a triangle is only 3, so I'm going to click that and move it up until I have a triangle. And then you can take the selection tool and move it over here. I'm going to line up the base of that triangle and then drag from the side to make it the right shape, and then drag it from the top to make it the right height. Alright. Another way you can do that is I would have just personally taken the pen tool and gone click, 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 click. That's a quick way to draw a triangle, but I guess it's fine to do it the way they did. So if, let's say you wanted to make this triangle right here without having to redraw another one, you could just take this one and copy, Control C, Control V, and then come over here to the corner and rotate it. If you hold the shift key, it'll lock it exactly in the right place, and then you can move it over here. Alright, so I'm going to do Control 0 so you can see the whole thing. So that's how you have all the outlines drawn. I'm going to make another video that shows you how to color it in.